Hi everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all well. Welcome to my film and TV channel. We have another big film review today. Yeah, my second in a row. I've just done recently the $150 million budget Soul film from Disney Pixar, and we have a $200 million film. I mean, they're still making these things. As I think these went into production well before COVID hit, so perhaps they'll ruin the day they did it, but hey, there you go. So today we're going to have a look at a superhero film, of course. There's not many films that cost $200 million unless it's a superhero film these days. And we're going to have a look at Wonder Woman 1984, or WW84 as it's also called. Please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notification so you know these vlogs are coming out. I do TV, drama reviews, information vlogs, film reviews like this. Quizzes, lots of different things, so if you can push that subscribe button. And also if you look at the playlist, I do stuff on my football team as well, Manchester City, so I do city history and city present. So if that's of any interest to you or anyone you know, please point them in my direction. I will be very grateful. And there's a couple of links on the screen there for Twitter and Facebook as well, so I've put loads of stuff on there. So if you're after some followers or friends, I will reciprocate. I do check every couple of days, so I'll actually follow back or friend back, whatever it is. So please, if that's of any interest to you as well. Right, let's have a look at this film, shall we? Wonder Woman 1984, stylised, they call it. Stylised as WW84, a 12A certificate. 2 hours, 31 minutes. Yes, I suppose it has to justify the price tag, doesn't it? Probably knock about 10, 12 minutes off of credits, but it's still a long time. When I first watched this, I thought it was just over 2 hours, and I must admit it did feel by the end of it as a long time. Action, adventure, fantasy, superhero film, of course, based on the DC Comics character Wonder Woman, of course, a sequel as well to the 2017's Wonder Woman, which did very well. I think it's still scoring 7.4 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database, so still very well liked. And it's the 9th instalment, number 9, of the DC Extended Universe, the DCEU for short. Patty Jenkins does the directing from a script that she wrote with Jeff Johns and David Callahan, based on a story by Johns and Jenkins. Yep, so we've got Gal Gadot's back as Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. And again, Chris Pine makes an appearance in this. Kristen Wiig's in this. Yes, very good. Pedro Pascal, Robin Wright, Connie Nielsen. And this one, it's set in 1984 during the Cold War, and it follows Diana and her past love Steve Trevor as they face off against Max Lord and Cheetah. So we have a new little villainous superhero there. It sort of premiered on the December the 15th via DC Fandom virtual platform. I don't know much about that, to be honest with you. It must be a US-based thing. Theatrically released by Warner Brothers and also made available on HBO Max in the US. Obviously for international markets who do not have this HBO Max, the film was theatrically released again beginning of December 2020. Well, there you go. So is it any good? On review site Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 65%. Now that's based on 290 reviews, so quite a lot. An average rating of 6.3 out of 10, so over that magic 6 out of 10 mark, which I always sort of look for in films. 189 fresh, which is good, but 101 rotten, so not down the middle, probably 2/3 to a third, isn't it? The site's critical consensus reads, Wonder Woman 84 struggles with sequel overload, but still offers enough vibrant escapism to satisfy fans of the franchise and its classic central character. Audience 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, so they liked it. That's based on 165 scores been left, so they seem to like it, the audience. Metacritic, though, they're similar to Rotten Tomatoes, only getting a weighted average of 59 out of 100. And that's based on 55 critics' reviews. Again, not too bad. 28 positive, 24 mixed. and 3 negatives. So again, not too bad, and it scores anywhere. The lowest mark is 6 out of 10, so that's not bad at all, to 8.8 out of 10. The Telegraph's Robbie Collin, he only scored it 6 out of 10 and wrote, "So if Wonder Woman 1984 is playing near you, should you pounce? Even if it remotely appeals, I'd say absolutely. Even though the film itself, a direct sequel to 2017's Wonder Woman, it's a bit of a marshmallow muddle." And Empire magazine, they quite liked it. They gave it 8 out of 10. A vibrant and virtuous adventure pack with all the heart and heroism we've come to expect from DC's shining light. Wonder Woman 1984 really is the hero 2020 needed all along. So some good words there, some good positivity. But there we go. As opposed to the Rotten Tomato users, the users on Metacritic have only given it 4.5 out of 10. 4.5, so that's pretty bad. That's based on almost 700 reviews as well. And Internet Movie Database themselves, Joe Public, you and me, that I always like to see. Did it hit that magical 6 out of 10? Unfortunately not. It only got 5.8 out of 10 based on 61,457 reviews as I'm doing this. Reviews and scores left as I'm doing this. And to be honest with you, I was looking through it, and most of the reviews, I looked at a good 3 or 4 pages, are quite negative. So obviously there must be some reasonable scores, because obviously it's got 5.8 out of 10, which isn't a total disaster. But just some of the negative headlines. Overhyped, underwhelmed. Someone else wrote, it had a promising start with Diana's story. Yeah, I'd agree with that. A lesson learned, an event to show her value, etc., etc. But after that, it's all a mess. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree much with that one. Someone else wrote, Blunder Woman 2020, it's a bit mean. And someone wrote, who the hell approved this script and movie? Question mark, question mark. Someone wrote, disappointed. Someone else, simply painful to watch and terrible, awful, horrible. So, I mean, somewhere were some of those sort of higher scores coming from early on, I'm not too sure. Some of the positives, action scenes are good, but the plot is a mess, you know, so that was a positive. People need to chill out hating this thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people obviously reading the poor reviews and sort of sticking there, fretting for him to say obviously it was far better than some of the reviews are saying. Someone else wrote, an enjoyable sequel, but misses on a lot of the magic of the first. Yep, I absolutely think it does. It's not mind-blowing or life-altering, but overall it's a pretty decent movie and a fun watch. It's different, it's nice, and it's beautifully crafted. So there's some of the positives on it. All right, about Bernard. What does Bernard think? Thinking of it, I'm talking about myself, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I found most recent superhero films, whether DC or Marvel, as I say, I do prefer DC as a comic guy. When I was a kid, I used to love the DC comics. But as far as films are concerned, I have no real preference for one or the other. I found the most disappointing, some of the very modern ones. There's the odd one that's okay. Significantly, the first Wonder Woman was okay. I did enjoy that. And I did naively, obviously based on that, look forward to this one again. But sadly, as again, I was felt a little bit let down by it all. As I say, it cost $200 million, and to be honest with you, it doesn't seem to buy that much these days. The CGI is pretty rubbish at times. I just think, I mean, it's okay at some times, but I think overall it's pretty poor. And some of the scenes as well, they have a sort of B-movie feel. They have a sort of made-for-TV film. Some of the sort of action disaster scenes where things are going on in the background, and they all seem a bit low budget to me, which is very incredible considering the amount of money they spent on it. I did sort of enjoy the first 10 minutes. I think a couple of the other guys said that there. I did sort of when Wonder Woman was young and obviously doing a trial for obviously to win a prize sort of thing. I did enjoy that, but to be honest with you, I find myself for the next over 2 hours sort of watching it just to enjoy Gadot and Wig, who I did enjoy watching very much, and they're the two who sort of kept me watching this. And as for Pine and Pascal, etc., who play the sort of lead male roles, if you like, they were okay, but like much of this movie, I found them a little bit bland and uninteresting, to be honest with you. 2.5 hours is just too far long for what you get. I mean, you're probably lucky if you take out the best bits of this, to get a 45-minute episode, even say it was an episodic thing, to get a decent 45-minute episode out of it. In all fairness, from what I can see, the supposed plot was incredibly weak, not very scary. You've got a baddie who, for the most part, is anything but a baddie. To be honest with you, he doesn't sort of not scare, but he doesn't sort of. He doesn't play the real bad guy role in a superhero film. He is fairly weak at that, and not that he didn't do an okay job, but it's just his character in the film was pretty poor. I mean, I'll probably go back and watch Superman 4 then have to watch this again. If somebody said to me, "You watch Superman 4 or watch this again," all right. Apart from the two leading ladies, obviously, which I did enjoy. Yeah, I would probably go back and watch Superman 4 because at least that was the 80s and it was set in the 80s, so at least it seemed a bit more believable. I would say I thought the 80s setting was a bit naff, to be honest with you. I mean, I was in the UK in the 80s. It may have been different to the USA in the 80s. I'm not too sure, but I found it all a bit pathetic and a bit like the Star Trek one where they went back to the 80s. It's a bit corny, and we've seen it before. Some people do like it. I mean, I have seen positive reviews. There's some 10 out of 10s, which, as I say, which are always dubious. There's some 9 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s. So some people, and obviously having a downer on people who don't like it. But to be honest with you, I sort of think those people who do give it high marks have sort of fell asleep after the first 10 minutes and woke up for the last, say, 15, 20 minutes where there's a little bit of action and it all sort of livens up a little bit. So I mean, perhaps I'm being unkind, I don't know, but as sequels go, with this is a pretty poor image, you know, pretty poor follow-up to its predecessors. As I said, it got 7.4 out of 10, the original Wonder Woman, and this it just drags and drags. And to be honest with the story, I mean, the actual screenplay, the actual story, the written stories, just very poor. It just seems very old-fashioned and all been done before, and just a bit silly, just a bit childish. As I said, if it was an episode and it was a 45-minute episode of a series, of a season, you might get enough out of it. But I'm afraid for this 2.5-hour film, I was very, very disappointed. I mean, I will give it an okay score. I'm not going to go a total downer on it. I'm going to give it 5 out of 10, which isn't great, is it? I mean, 5.5 is my sort of watchable score, if you like. But I'm going to give this 5 out of 10, and purely for the presence of the two lead female characters in this, female actors who sort of are the only reason I did sort of watch it. I just enjoy watching those two ladies. That's as simple as that. I thought they did a good job, and I liked the way they progressed through the film, and I sort of stuck up for the characters they were playing. But apart from that, I thought everything else was very, somebody said before, it was all mishy-mashy and all a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. The posters, yeah, well, how can you not have a bad superhero poster? I mean, some of the posters I've seen, you've seen a couple there while I've been doing this, but yeah, I mean, the posters are brilliant. I love the posters as much. Even if the films are rubbish, you can always rely on a poster, and who doesn't want Gadot as Wonder Woman? I mean, you know, obviously, you know, if you haven't got the original, have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. They're superb. So I'm going to give the posters an 8 out of 10. The poster or the posters, because they're all very good. I'm going to give the posters 8 out of 10, which totally knocked the score for the film of 5 out of 10 into a cocked hat, doesn't it, really? So, yeah, the posters beat the film hands down today. What's better, the poster or the film? A long way, but by a long way, the poster. So, the movie, sadly, only 5 out of 10, and the poster 8 out of 10. Anyway, if you get to watch this, or you've watched it, a lot of people have already watched this, please let me know what you think about Wonder Woman 84. Hopefully there is another one coming. Hopefully they'll come up with a bit of a better, more interesting storyline. I say I am a comic book. You know, I did like comic books when I was a kid. Obviously, I'm not a kid anymore. But even if I sort of put a sort of teenage head on her, I'd be very disappointed with the story. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't go anywhere. Unfortunately, it's just bland and silly and daft, and it seems out of its time. Yeah, it seems to, even in 1984 we were writing, but there was far better scripts than this is. I just have no idea who approved this or whether it was redone and tried to make better. I'm not too sure, but rubbish script, far too long, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to do the rest of the day. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your family. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Till we meet again here, perhaps on the Film and TV channel, or if you flip over to my football channel, if that's of any interest to you, called the Citizen channel. If you flip over there, we meet on there. Fantastic. Please stay safe, everyone. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.